It is gold. Solid gold.
Someone's paying for this big time.
Look, I know I made the exact same joke in the last video, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Anyways, the Ben 10 Classic series is the first of many Ben 10 series, and most fans can agree that it's great. Some would even say it's a masterpiece. So in this series of 4 videos, we're gonna see if the Classic series is truly a masterpiece or people are just blinded by nostalgia. Starting off with the first part where we're gonna talk about the first ever season of Ben 10. We enter the episode seeing Ben for the first time, and he's trying to save a random kid from the bullies Cash and JT, but he fails miserably. After that, his grandfather Max picks him up from school and it's time for their summer vacation to begin. Well, except for a slight problem. You see, Grandpa Max did the unthinkable. He brought his cousin Gwen with them. Yes, it's shocking, I know. Ben, as expected, is super mad about it, but Grandpa doesn't really care. They go to the camp and we're introduced to Max's beautiful cooking. Honestly, I would unironically try these worms, they look kind of delicious. Meanwhile in space, we're introduced to Vilgax, who is a big, bad, menacing squid man, and he's shooting on a ship to get Omnitrix. But the ship damages Vilgax's ship and it heavily injures Vilgax. Meanwhile on Earth, Ben is playing his game even though he's outside like a true hardcore gamer, but he gets mad at Gwen for just being there, so he goes to the woods alone, like every 10-year-old does. While he's there, the Omnitrix falls from the space and gets stuck to his wrist. In a very cool scene, by the way. Ben accidentally transforms into Heat Blast, who is basically a living torch, and he has fire powers. Ben sets the forest on fire. Then Gwen and Grandpa Max find out that this is actually Ben, and he does the most reasonable thing anyone can do, and that's to fight fire with fire. And it works perfectly, as we all expected. Then Ben turns back to normal. Grandpa Max goes to investigate the place where the Omnitrix crashed, then Vilgax sends his drones to find the Omnitrix. Ben turns into Wildmat, who is a big alien orange dog with no eyes but can sense his opponents. While at the forest, the drones find Ben, who is just kind of chilling there. I'm still not sure why he went to the woods, but whatever. And they fight him, but Ben defeats them using his dog powers. Then a big robot goes to Earth, and Ben has to stop him, and for this fight, he uses Diamond Head, also known as the best alien in the entire franchise, by the way. Ben defeats the robot and gets revenge on his bullies, and that's the episode. And it's honestly a really good first episode of the franchise, although I still think the Alien Force pilot is a little better. It's also funny that the only reason Ben found the Omnitrix is because Grandpa Max wanted Gwen to come with them. Because the only reason Ben went into the woods is because he was angry at Gwen, so good job Grandpa. By taking both of your grandkids, in a way, you saved the universe. And are the reason for some weird Ben and Gwen fan art. Like seriously guys, they're cousins. Now, this is probably the original series' strongest point. Let's start with the art style, and it's pretty good. All of the characters look great, the aliens look amazing. Backgrounds also look great. They do have a downfall, and that's that we don't visit any alien planets. But if we did, they would have probably looked amazing. The animation is also great, there are so many good fight scenes, and every character has distinct power. Also, the alien transformation just look amazing. The soundtrack is also really good. There are a lot of good tracks in the original series, and they all fit the vibe of Ben 10. Also, we can't talk about the sound design without talking about the legendary theme song. It's just amazing and it always hypes me up for the episode. Let's start with Ben, who is a kid who needs to learn how to be a hero and not to be selfish. Now, Ben is great, and I think we can all agree on that. But in the original series, he always needs to learn the same lesson over and over again, and it just gets annoying after literally the first season. But he's still great. Gwen is Ben's cousin, and she's always fighting with him in the original series, but she's still more mature than Ben. I know a lot of people find them arguing annoying, but I honestly don't mind it when it's not the main focus like in Camp Fear, where way too much time was spent on them arguing and it just makes me not like the episode. But when it's not focused on, it's not that bad. Grandpa Max is basically a father figure to Ben and...
You're not my dad.
Oh, sorry Ben. He's like Ben and Gwen's mentor? Yeah, that'll do it. And he needs to teach Ben to become a true hero and not to be selfish or to use his powers for bad things and stuff like that. Now, let's talk about the villain, starting off with Dr. Animal, who is a great villain. His whole thing is that he has a helmet that can turn animals into mutant animals, and he only does this because he didn't win an award he wanted. So he turned into a scrawny little hoe guy, like every normal human does. Kevin Levin is basically what Ben could be if he uses his powers for bad things like stealing video games or robbing people in the most inefficient way possible. Like, really, Ripjaws? Out of all 10 aliens, you chose Ripjaws, the only one who can breathe on land. I guess energy really does make Smosians go crazy. Zombozo is a clown who steals souls from other people using his machine. Well, only in one episode, but still. He's kind of a bad villain, but I think they can make really interesting things with him, and I can't wait to see what they'll do with him. Oh, well, never mind. Crab and 66 are bounty hunters who work for Vilgax. Crab is kind of forgotten after his first appearance, not counting his 5 minutes of screen time in Alien Force. But 66 does return a lot in the franchise, and there are a lot of characters inspired by him, like 77, 88, and 99. I'm still waiting for 1010. Now, we can't talk about villains without mentioning the big bad of the season himself, Vilgax. Now, Vilgax is super cool. He's super strong, he has a cool tentacle beard or whatever it is. He's really menacing, he has a cool ship, cool robots, he's pretty awesome. I just can't imagine how they can ruin him. Oh, well, never mind. And now, you probably noticed that I didn't mention one villain, and that's because I wanted to save the best for last. And that villain is Clancy, who is a homeless guy who can control bugs, and eventually becomes a bug himself. Honestly, he's still better than Zombozo. We entered the episode seeing Ben defeating some criminals easily, which is as important as the crab scene in Alien Force, but here it shows that Ben has become really experienced with the watch, and that he's basically unstoppable by this point. Then we see that Ben has a nightmare and that Vilgax is in it, and he tells Ben that he's coming for him. Grandpa Max gets really worried when Ben tells him about the dream, so they travel to Mount Rushmore for some reason. But while they're driving, Ben sees that a city nearby is attacked, so he goes there to save the day. But then Vilgax shows up. He captures Ben and ties him into a machine. Meanwhile, Grandpa Max and Gwen are at Mount Rushmore, where Max gets a big alien bazooka and tells Gwen that he's not just a regular plumber. Grandpa and Gwen use the rust bucket to get to Vilgax's ship, and Max shoots the big squid man himself with the bazooka. After that, the Omnitrix glitches and keeps turning Ben randomly into different aliens, and he needs to fight Vilgax with that glitch. And that's honestly one of the reasons this episode is so great. Not only is Vilgax so much stronger than Ben, but the Omnitrix is also glitching, so it makes the fight even harder for Ben. And it's also just really cool when we see Ben use a lot of aliens in a fight. So Ben fights Vilgax in a really cool fight scene, by the way. But Ben surrenders because Vilgax threatens Ben that if he doesn't give the Omnitrix to him, he'll kill Grandpa Max and Gwen. But Ben used Max's weapon from earlier to shoot Vilgax. Ben gets out of the ship using Heat Blast, the ship crashes, and that's the episode. And it's honestly a really good finale, probably even the best finale of the original series. My only complaints with it are that we didn't get to see Forearms fight Vilgax, since Forearms is Ben's strongest alien physically. The scene where Ben merges with Gwen's laptop, Stinkfly fighting the drones, and Ben defeating those random criminals are scenes that could have been cut for more Ben fighting Vilgax, and basically my only complaints with the episode are that I just want to see more of it. And I think it would have been really cool if it had 2 parts and maybe cut that Grey Matter episode. But it is still great as it is. But still cut the Grey Matter episode, that one is just horrible. I can't say I'm surprised by how good the season is. Sure, I'm not a huge fan of the episodic approach, and some episodes are pretty bad, like the Grey Matter episode, but honestly, it's still probably the best season of the original series. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!